The next thing that we're going to talk about is package management. So one of the best parts about Ubuntu and Linux in general is like there's a package for generally everything. Like most things follow that Unix philosophy of like every program should do one thing well, and so there's a lot of packages that do one thing well. And this is kind of like NPM, right? Like NPM, you have a bunch of like mini packages that do one thing, and you use those mini packages to make bigger programs that do bigger things, right? And that's kind of the philosophy here as well. So every big Linux distribution comes with its own package manager. So for example, Ubuntu has APT, which is Advanced Packager. I can't remember. Anyway, APT, apt. I always call it apt. I don't know if you're supposed to, but that's always what I call it. Advanced Packaging Tool. That's what APT is. But that's just for Ubuntu. That's only Ubuntu's tool. Debian has DPKG, which is also available in Ubuntu because Ubuntu is based on Debian, so you can also use DPKG. It's just a lower level, a bit more difficult to wrangle tool, whereas apt is a very nice tool to use. Red has RHEL, R-H-E-L, Red Hat something, or no, sorry, RHEL is the name of the distribution. It has RPM, Red Hat Package Manager. There's Yum. Yum is also another one for RHEL. There's APK, which is for Alpine. There's a bunch of various different tools that we can use. But suffice to say, today we're just going to focus on APT. But yeah, I did want you to know that DPKG does actually exist. It's already installed on there. You can use it if you want to. I've never had an opportunity that I didn't want to use APT. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started on APT. Oh, the one thing I was going to show you before I get into APT, there actually is like a really nice tool for managing APT. So if I put in sudo apt install aptitude, this one right here, aptitude, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to download a bunch of different things. That's typical. It's kind of like NPM where you have to install 20,000 packages to get one. Same sort of thing here. So I'm going to say yes. It's going to go out to the network. It's going to install a bunch of stuff. And then it's going to let me run aptitude. So aptitude, I'm not going to really show you too much about it. But what's cool about aptitude is it's actually like a really nice front end to the package manager for Ubuntu. So you can see what I have installed. You can see what I have to upgrade. You can see here that I have, all these various different packages that are already installed. Here's things that need to be upgraded. Kind of cool stuff, right? So this is really nice if you want to browse around and see what I have, what's available to update, that kind of stuff. And then as soon as I hit Control-C, it'll exit out of it. And so aptitude is not installed by default, but it is a tool made by Canonical and Ubuntu, so it's a tool you can trust, right? So yeah, just be aware of its existence. Okay. So I want to take a second and talk about apt-get versus APT, or apt versus apt-get, right? So you'll see a lot of tutorials that do apt-get like this, right? And then you'll do apt-get install and then blah, blah, blah. Why is there two of them? Why is there apt-get install and apt-install? Apt-get is the old one. Apt is the new one. So in other words, apt-get still works. I think it'll work forever. It has some various different behaviors that are more advanced than apt. So it'll stay there because they just want to maintain backwards compatibility. But apt-install is the new one. Go ahead and just use that one. Yeah, it's just meant to be easier. So apt is meant to be an easier tool to use. It's meant to be simpler and easier to use for the 99% use case, and they keep apt-get around if you need to do some wild stuff that I've never had to do. Okay, so the next thing I want you all to install is one of my very favorite programs called LOLcat. So please, at this point, do apt install lolcat, like that. Now it's going to say, hey, you don't have permissions to install this, and that's because when you're running apt install, you actually do have to do sudo apt install it. Now, if you remember, If you do exclamation, exclamation point, it's going to rerun the previous command. So if I do sudo exclamation point, it's going to run sudo apt install lolcat. So that's like exclusively when I use the double exclamation points or the bang bang. So you can actually see it, the next line it shows you, this is actually what I ended up running. So I'm going to say yes, that's what I want to install. Okay, so now we have a new program that we've installed, lolcat, and it makes our terminal very colorful. So even the help text is very colorful. So it's like cat, it's very similar to cat, it just makes whatever it's catting out rainbow colored. So if I say cat log.txt, you can see that this is what it outputs. But if I say lolcat log.txt, you can see it's much improved and much better, right? Now what's cool about this is some random user somewhere wrote lolcat, and we can now install that wherever we want just because they wrote that for us and they put it on the apt registry. So actually another one of the front-end masters instructors, Sarah Drasner, every time that she runs ls, she actually has it like set up so it always runs it through a lolcat. So this is always what it looks like when she runs ls, which I have to say is pretty fabulous, right? Like this just makes me a little bit happier every single time that I have to go run ls. So yeah, credit to Sarah Drasner for showing that one to me. And I linked an article in the course notes here that you can actually go out and set that up yourself. Sarah wrote a funny little article of how to do that. So I want to be able to run Node, but you can see this computer does not have Node. So if I try and run Node, it says, hey, Node's not here. Do you want to install Node? Yes, I do. So I'm going to say, just copy and paste that, and I'm going to go out and install Node.js. So now, if I come in here and I say Node again, it's going to drop me into the Node REPL. Or I can go ahead and run something like node-e, which is going to execute whatever you put in the quotes, console.log hello from Node. There you can see. This ran Node.js, it ran a console log, and it says hello from Node, which is exactly what we saw there. So pretty easy. I did want to show you that you can do apt search for Node.js. And this is probably going to show you a bunch of things, right? So these are all the various different Node.js things that are available to install off of APT. And then I can also say apt show Node.js. And it's going to show me all of the information about Node.js that it has. It has all these different versions. It's maintained by these people. Its priority is extra. I think that means it's like they keep a very close watch on it. Whereas like if we said apt show lolcat, you can see, oh, I guess extra as well. So I actually don't even know what priority is there, but you can see these are all the various maintainers of it. So for example, you didn't know, but lolcat is actually written in Ruby. I didn't know that until I looked at that. So that's interesting. Cool. So that's kind of like a whirlwind tour of like how to use apt. I use it quite a bit because you can go out there and install various different utilities that you need. When you're doing things like setting up Docker, it's really useful to use APT to install the various different packages you need for your containers. Yeah, it's good. Let's show you a couple more different commands that are useful to know. There's sudo apt auto remove. That's going to go and just clean up stuff that you have that you really don't need. So it's going to say, I found one package that you don't need to have. So I'll say yes. And it's removing this grub PC bin because apparently nothing, it's installed and nothing is referring to it, so it just goes and removes it. Sudo apt update. So the way that apt actually works is it downloads a list of all available packages to your computer. So if you do this update, it will actually go get the new copy of that. Now, mine probably didn't have that much to upgrade because this is a very new copy of it. But if you run, your Ubuntu for like 30 or 40 days, there's probably going to be a new version of various different packages for you to have. So before you install something, it's usually a good idea to do an apt update and then an apt install to make sure that you're getting the latest version of everything. You can do sudo, or I guess you can do that apt list. It'll list all of the packages that you have installed. You can see it's a lot, right? So sometimes it's useful to just say apt list upgradable. And here, from here, right? Here's everything that I could update. So this will let me know, here's all the stuff you can go update. And if you want to just go do that, you can do sudo apt upgrade. And if you don't tell any specific package, like I could say right now, just update libxau6, right? And it would just update that package. But if I don't tell it anything, it's just going to go update all of them. So that'll take them to go, and it'll go reinstall and update all of those various different packages. And there's no reason that we need to necessarily wait here for all of this. Normally it goes faster though. Oh, there you go. Well, one of the packages has like a post install script, which is kind of fun. So let's just say keep the local versions installed. I have no idea. Oh, it's doing some like boot stuff upgrade. I probably should have paid a lot more attention to what I just did, but this is a local VM that I'm going to blow up at the end of this, so I don't care. I probably just upset some sysadmin somewhere. Some dark cave somewhere they crawled out and say, why did you do that? Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is sudo apt full upgrade. And this is just going to do those previous two commands that I showed you together, the auto remove and the upgrade at the same time, and it's just going to go do everything for you. Since I already ran both of them, it should have nothing to do, which it doesn't, but that's another good thing to do when you first start something, is just do a full upgrade, get everything up to date. Make sense? Good so far? The one thing I was going to show you from the class notes, I'm going to come back in here, close my dev tools, and here in package management in APT, down at the bottom, there's a link here. If I click on this, it'll take you to apt-browse.org. There's no official like website for the APT registry, but this will browse it for you. So if I put like Node.js in here, it'll show me everything that matches that. I can click on that. And this will just give me a bunch of information about that Node.js package. So if you want to like look at it, you want to see what files are coming with it, you can see a description, where it's coming from, those sorts of things. This is a good place to go check it out really quick before you install it.